Welcome back, everybody, to On the Edge of Shadow. It looks like we're finally at session 17, a reunion of lovers. After Myos has left you at the kind of agora-like fountain square in the middle of wherever the hell this is, this Atlantean coastal city, you two being the ogre and the fair folk that you are. You're the only fae and the only ogre that you've seen since you've come here. I'll let Shihan go ahead and kick us off. Describe your character, and Grant follow up next, and you guys tell me where you guys want to go here.
So at this point, Shihan would have, he was heading toward a bath. He's wearing some fairly decent leather pants, finally, and decent boots that he purchased not too long ago, and apparently a very at one time was a very fine tunic that now has got stains on it. Some of the threads in picked out occasionally by armor being worn over it and such. His hair is back in a braid. It's long and actually down about mid-back for himself, and he has it pulled back to show his horns a little better, which are getting bigger, but they're still only about 2.5 inches long. His eyes are bright as he's taking in the city that he's never really experienced anything like, and he's walking next to his big friend Blogveer, looking to possibly get himself cleaned up finally.
Just as a quick aside here, how many grades of allure does Shihan have? Well, he is Fae, so he'll get his base +2.
Well, he has a mere 6.
So. A mere 6. That's actually quite attractive amongst most mortals. Okay, Grant, take it away.
Blogveer is walking next to his companion. He is 10.5 feet tall, a 1-ton slate gray skinned ogre. Right now he's wearing his bronze breastplate and armor. It's a complete set except for one pauldron, which has been replaced by a veritable chain scale skirt made by Atlantean blacksmith. He is looking rather nervous, very anxious as he is lumbering his form towards his bath, where he is told to make himself presentable to hopefully be introduced to the love of his life, which he's been searching all these many long months for. So butterflies in his stomach and stars in his eyes as he is briskly walking towards this bath to make himself presentable.
And the bathhouse that you have been directed to, not unlike an ancient, possibly a Greek or even earlier a Mycenaean bathhouse that has hanging plants growing on the sides of the building. The architecture is actually quite beautiful here. Kind of a taupe and or whitewashed building put together with brick. You guys walk inside and are immediately greeted with the beauty, or possibly to Blogveer, he might scrunch up his nose at the pompousness of how stuck up and pretty, overly so, this Atlantean artwork is. Images of the sea, images of growing plants, and nude, scantily clad women. Shihan, however, will recognize the fey visage of sea nymphs on the walls in that fresco pattern. You've never seen a sea nymph personally, as you've never been to the ocean before, but you have heard of these things, and you have looked upon the river, the freshwater variety but this is the images that come to you. There's a fresh fountain breeze comes up through this hallway.
Look, blood for your nymphs, he says as he points to the artwork along the walls. Is this artwork? Is it painted on, or is it or is it like inlay or carving?
A mixture of everything, really.
Okay.
What I was describing was in particular, was a fresco.
Okay. So yeah, he'll take in all the wonderful sights, and does he feel is this a cold bath, or do they have heated area, or?
As you kind of pass through the multiple chambers here, you find that they have a mixture of both. You can take a cold bath that actually has kind of like an underwater, like kind of like a tunnel that goes from the inner side of the building, the inner bath, to like an outdoor pool kind of section. But you have to dive under this curtain of stone to actually get out there. The inside is heated, the outside is not.
Okay. Well, I'll look for a place to stow my stuff so I can get myself into the water and get cleaned up a bit.
They have racks for that sort of thing. Racks, shelves. Where did you guys put your sled?
I don't know, Blubber.
I guess we just parked it outside the bathhouse, or like out in the street. I guess. Okay. I mean, we can't like bring it in.
No, it won't fit in actually.
So, we just set it there, and
we hope it'll still be there.
Yeah.
Well,
hope no shenanigans
don't mess with it. So I will put my cash box in with a little slots though for stuff, and then pile stuff on top of it. So
there are the bathhouse is actually quite busy today. So there are mostly native slaves here, as well as quite a few Atlantean bath goers. Really, they give you some odd looks, but they don't accost you in any way.
Is there anyone here who seems to be an attendant or a?
There is a Nemersian slave girl who is an attendant.
Okay, I'll walk over to her and say, "Is there a place we can like put our stuff out? We have some things outside."
Well, like what kind of things? Because she saw you put a bunch of your stuff on like a shelf, which is that's what that's for. But she's
well.
Yeah, she didn't
know.
Let's
see. I've got some salt, some couple of fishing spears, bit of dry bear meat, a long axe.
That's not all going to fit in here. Most people leave their things at home.
Oh,
before they come to the bath.
That would be hard for me to do. My home is a long way from here. So I guess before I do this, I probably need to go find a place to stay tonight, huh?
Well, maybe, perhaps, yes.
Okay. Well, do you know a place I could go to that's nearby?
I don't.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'll just ask the room. Anyone have any suggestions on a good inn or something nearby, or a good tavern?
There's about 6 or 8 people kind of answer you all at once, and they give directions to half a dozen places that are found all over the city.
Okay. I'll wait for a moment, and I'll thank them and look at Logbeer and say, "Did you get any of that?"
Apparently, there's a lot of places we can go.
Oh, okay. At least they answered us. I guess we'll probably do that first then before we get cleaned up, huh?
Yeah, you're right. We should make haste, though.
Oh yeah, definitely. But we need to store our stuff though. All right, gather my stuff back up again and head back out into the sled.
The sled is indeed where you left it.
Good. Well, I'll look around and see if I see anything nearby that looks like might be an inn or a flop house or I don't know, lodge.
Flop house, yes. There's kind of it looks like a big barn, kind of a cross between a barn and a warehouse. That people are kind of going in and out. There's an Atlantean standing outside, and he's got a rather menacing looking cudgel on his hip.
Okay.
And he'll sell you a room for the evening. Kind of by room, he describes kind of like a horse stall.
Okay. That's not unthought of for me. I stay in like the great house a lot of times with like where we have food for a hut. So
he says breakfast is in the morning: sausage, eggs, gruel, that sort of thing.
Okay, what's a gruel? Like one of the animals you have around here or something?
No, it's a kind of a seedy plant vegetable soup.
Okay. Gotcha.
It's real thick.
Okay. That sounds interesting. Look at the blog beer. You gonna have enough for him?
Oh yeah, we'll have enough. We'll have enough.
All right.
That is, it'll cost you about 4 silver for that evening.
Oh, okay. I hand him 4 of the silver pieces.
He hands you back a bronze key.
Cool. What's this for?
To lock the door. He looks at you like, you podunk thing. What? You don't have locks where you come from?
I very much have a puzzled look on my face. I have literally never encountered an actual lock.
Blogveer knows what a lock is.
I've never, literally this entire time, I've never encountered a lock.
You use it to make sure our belongings are safe. It keeps out the riffraff. Make sure only we can enter the room.
Okay. So you're saying that there's people here in this town that won't honor the fact that someone else's stuff is there and won't mess with it.
You've lived this long. You should know better than to trust random people.
That poor Atlantean just kind of looks back between the two of you, and he looks up at Blogveer. What the hell? Do they have what heavenly place? He looks back at Shihan. What heavenly place that you come from that doesn't have thieves or brigands in it?
Oh, we have thieves and brigands. It's just when they get into other people's stuff, we pretty much know who they are and we cut their hands off.
He just he shrugs, he accepts that. Like, all right, yeah.
Yeah, they'll do it again, usually. So if they do it again, they're really dumb. So
he laughs. He goes, well, he points to your room that's like 3 stalls down on the right.
Okay. I'll help Blogbeer maneuver the sled in there.
Let's get it all in there. And
it is quite literally big enough for the sled and maybe Shihan to lay down on his side on the floor. That's about it.
Okay. I'll walk back out to the guy and say, I think we're going to need another one. And I'll pull out 4 more silver coins.
He hands you back a key for the next door stall.
Okay. All right. Go and, I guess, show me how this thing works, Blogbeer.
Okay. You stick it in the lock and you turn it. Lock opens. Door opens. When you want it closed, you close it, stick it in again, turn it the other way. It'll lock the door. No one gets in.
That sounds fairly arousing. Okay.
All right, my friend. I'm glad we got sleeping rooms for the evening.
I guess I'll sleep in here and I'll arrange the sled to have a place to lay down in the middle of it.
Yeah, there's enough. Oh my God! You guys got rid of both bear pelts, right?
Yeah, we sold them.
Well, you guys don't. You guys have. I swear to God, you guys have blankets, at least winter wool blankets.
We have that. We have
so Shihan can can lay down on it.
Yeah, I can make a nest. So that's
Okay,
not a
all right,
problem.
perfect. And so just for the sake of your guys' inventory, write this down. You guys have 2 wool blankets, mammoth wool, that are ogre sized, and 2 that are Arborian sized. So it's a little bit bigger than what Shihan would possibly ever need.
Okay.
And of course, maybe some crude cushion for a pillow.
Yeah, I can. As I have a like my winter garb that I don't wear anymore. I've got in there too, bundled up, so I can just put
Of
it
course.
on my head. So
I'm imagining that your inventory space on your character sheet's going to be quite
Yeah.
extensive.
it would be. So I've got several different things. We
Okay.
traded some stuff away, obviously, but yeah, we've also got some stuff left.
Right,
So-
right. You just have a portable trading post yourselves. Anyway,
Yeah, we could. So
that taken care of, you guys are secure with your rooms that are locked. There you go.
nice.
Astonishing weird thing that is.
I practiced a couple times just to make sure I know how to do it. So
Yeah, it's not hard to figure out a lock. He's got like 2 or 3 tumblers, and it's a simple lock.
yeah, okay, nice. Okay, that works pretty good. So I make sure to actually the reason I do it 2 or 3 times because it actually astonishes me that I can put this thing in there and move it, and the door won't open. I can move it again, the door will open.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sort of neat.
Make an academics test, quick like.
I can do this. That's going to be a big total of academics 9.
You've heard of bearded folk having similar contraptions in their cities.
Okay. So,
You've never seen them, but you've
Yeah.
heard of it.
okay. Yeah, I've heard that. So wow, yeah, this is neat. So all right, I go back out and thank the guy in the front for showing us a place to stay. So
He
I
nods.
asked if is he going to be at breakfast tomorrow morning? So or will he be there later tonight to do once I get back to hear me play and tell my stories?
He's going to be there all night. He's the only one that he owns this building, and he's the
Okay.
only the term he's the only watchman there. So he's around all the damn time.
Okay. So I'll make sure you get entertained tonight then. So
He smiles. He thanks you. Safe travels to you, and warm winds, which that might chafe Blogveer, as that is a pleasant goodbye greeting in Atlantean.
okay.
It may or may not come to your surprise that not all Atlanteans are assholes.
It's foreign to him. He's slowly trying to teach himself, to learn himself that they're not all assholes, but it's going to take some time.
Just the military is, sidebar,
Yeah.
just the military. So, back at the bathhouse, attendance, it's busy. It's high traffic time. The floor is yours.
Take a bath. I'm going to try out this. Go ahead.
Blogbeer's going to just strip naked, and he's going to get in the warm one. He's not swimming underneath no damn rocks and going out and out.
You actually can't fit
No,
through
fuck.
that tunnel. So no,
Okay, good. That's
no,
good.
no. What I'm
Okay,
saying is you
yeah.
can't fit through the tunnel.
Good. So
Yeah.
warm bath only. Fuck you, tunnel.
Unless he goes out of the building, walks all the way around back, and then gets in. No.
He
Not worth
will put his gear up and try to find a spot, or make a spot for himself in the heated area.
Which he displaces about 2 feet of water just for comic relief.
Okay. That's actually not unimaginable, actually. I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to get in the hot because I've never actually really had a hot bath. I mean, I've heard of hot springs and people doing it there, but I've never actually been in one.
Yeah,
So-
same concept. Alien enough, same concept, but inside a building.
Yeah. So yeah, it's wow. And of course I have to ask, really tense, how do you make this water warm?
Uh, one of the slave girls, who's she's about to answer, but one of the Atlanteans nearby just simply says sorcery.
Okay.
But it's not our sorcery. It is a sorcery of this place.
Hmm.
There's a spring somewhere, some spirit or maybe otherwise that keeps these waters quite warm.
Oh, okay.
Player knowledge, it's geothermal heating from
Okay.
a hot spring below, but they call it sorcery.
Okay. Well, in that case, him saying that, I'm thinking to myself, okay, that must be some kind of a fae that is probably associated with water and heat. So I'm going to, in Fey-wise, say sort of thank you, just sort of into the air. Thank you for for keeping this water warm. This is very relaxing.
Make a sight test for me, please.
Okay. Oh, that was a little better. Back over to my page there. Okay. 2 plus 2, 1, 20.
Okay.
Rolled an 8, so.
Fantastic. Yeah, there is kind of an unseen presence in this pool with you that acknowledges your thanks, but slowly disappears.
Okay. Of course, I'm sure that the guy who said that he was telling me about this thing being sorcery, whenever I do that, he's probably like, huh?
No, he's kind of sat down on the other end of the pool,
Okay. So,
minding his business, you minding your business, sort of thing.
gotcha. I lean back and look over at Blogbeer and says, well, you're almost there, my friend.
Yes. I I'm nervous. I guess I've never felt this way um, in a very long time.
Down, boy.
No, it's not that. It's it's a feeling of someone watching you. Your hair on the back of your neck stands up, and you got knots in your stomach. Yeah, it's I can't describe it.
None of us can, I don't think. He leans back and splashes some water. Actually, dunks his head under the water and comes back up and runs his hands through his hair to loose out the braids. I get a little bit of the dirt, probably nice little film appearing on top of the water at this point. Since he hadn't washed his hair in quite some time. He's like,
Yeah,
well,
Logray will do the same too. He'll have
okay.
to he'll have to just like slide under his whole fucking body just to get his head under there. Have to do like a quick dunk or something. I don't know. He's not gonna be able to. He'll probably reach from end to end of the whole damn thing if he tries to just slide under the water.
So when Blogveer goes ahead and adjusts, a couple of the other Atlanteans and on the other end of the pools, it's kind of a mix of men and women, and they're just kind of looking at you like, "Oh shit, what are you doing?" And so when you adjust, it moves the water. A couple of them laugh and grab onto the side of the pool, and one of the Atlantean ladies, it's actually a particularly beautiful Atlantean woman, gets a bucket and kind of like fills it like half full of water and then just kind of like leans out, hands it over to Shihan, and she kind of like points to Blogveer's hair. She's like, "Oh, that so you don't get rid of all the water."
That works. Pour the water over Blubber's head.
Thank you for shaking.
Get some more, do it again.
Rub my hands through my hair. Do these like serving the people have like any fancy Atlantean grooming supplies? I don't know. I don't know what Atlantean grooming ritual is.
Combs, shears for possibly shaving, or trimming, and then obviously knives for shaving. None of them would be able to get through the knotted mop rope that is your hair and beard at this
No.
point?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want them nowhere near it anyways. It's perfect the way it is, both of them. So
Describe for us Blogveer's hair and beard at this point. It's been a while. What is his hair like?
his hair is right past shoulder length hair. It's like right in between his shoulder blades, and it is dreadlocked to all hell. It is a mass of big, thick mass of locks. With some of them have conformed into one giant mat. He has get his hair is filled with big giant locks of matted hair, and then smaller ones around its face and all that. And most of it is just from him wandering the world and not combing and taking care. But some of it is also self done too. When he has free time, he will start rolling and locking parts of his hair, mat it together to make it matte. And his beard is about down to his chest, and
that's a good 4 feet.
Yeah, it's starting to form into basically one giant dreaded mass of hair that his beard is. It has just slowly formed from months and months on the road, and it is just it's all forming together to form the ultra beard. And by our powers combined, it will just form this big giant lock of 2 or 3 pounds of just hair to dangling from his face. And it doesn't smell good, so he's a fucking wild man. People would think he's an unkempt savage from the mountains or something, the way he looks.
Yeah. Shihao tilted his head, looking at this monstrosity of a thing on Blogbeer's face, not really having paid much attention to it before, just from it being there. And thinking back to what the Atlantean said about being presentable, he's like, might need to do something about that. Might need to work on that a bit.
Blogbeer will look at you with worry. He looked worried, like, nah.
Well,
I can put some oils in it, but I'm not cutting it.
Well, I think I saw a bird fly away when he poured water on your head.
No, you must be mistaken. And he'll just kind of like on the top of the side, kind of look through it or looking through it.
Take a bucket and pour it directly into the beard, and I'm sure the beard will probably just absorb the water.
Oh, it's like
yeah, it's basically a towel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we need to do a little something about grooming you a little better. He stands up and waves to the attendant lady. He says, "Can we get like a lot of help over here?" And he goes over to the strong box and pulls out one of the yellow coins. He walks over and holds that to the girl and says, "Fix his hair, but make sure he still has as much as he can."
One of the slave girls, she kind of looks at the rope the mooring rope really hanging off of Blogveer's face with this wide-eyed look. He goes,
I have a woodman's axe back at where I'm staying, if that will help.
Now let's not get crazy.
She actually looks at an older Atlantean woman, which you assume she's probably the one in charge here. Mm-hmm. And she says, okay, excuse me, you actually understand Atlantean now. I don't know how to take care of his hair. And so she comes over, she takes the gold coin, she instructs the little girl to go get a vat of oil from the basement. And so a few minutes later, a girl with a couple Atlantean men come up with a barrel of what would be kind of like rubbing oils, like a beard oils, like olive oils of some kind.
Yeah.
It's heavily scented to make it, pleasing, but you looking at this and then looking at the massive hair, you're not sure if that's going to be enough.
Blogbeer out of sheer terror that his hair is in jeopardy of being lopped off, he just takes the barrel and just gets a handful of oil, just rubs it all through his beard. He'll just copious amounts of just oil. He'll just make sure he rubs it in there nice. He'll get 2 handfuls of it and just put it on his head and like just slick his through his hair and rub some of the dreads he has and just put it all back and put it back in a ponytail and use one of the longer ones to wrap it around and hold all the rest of them in place. And he'll eyeball Shihan with like a dirty look, like you ain't cutting this off with no axe look.
Shion tilts his head and said, "Did the Atlantean not say you should be presentable? I don't think that'll work."
I smell good. This is presentable for an ogre.
You smell good as long as you're downwind. Now you smell like ogre butt and oil.
I'll take some oil in my hand and I'll just rub my asshole with some oil. There. Now I smell like whatever this is. I'll just rub oil over my fucking self until the oil's gone. I'm slicked up like a greased up pig. And
I'm gonna go over to the older lady and shake my head, and I tried.
And then I'll kind of just like try to air myself out, like the oil dry or something. Just like sitting there covered in fucking oil. Throw me in a pan, fry me up.
Actually, do they have? I know a lot of older cultures had the thing where you would basically cover yourself with oil, and then you would take a curved piece of bone.
A scraper. Yeah, I can't remember what that's actually called, but there's a name for that. Yeah, they have one that looks like a pizza peel for people his size. Okay. But the mistress of this bathhouse kind of like directs Blogveer off into like a private section with his own bath like basin, which is basically the size of a jacuzzi, for him to clean his hair, clean himself, and they leave the pizza peel for him. Okay. And she closes the curtain behind him.
Okay.
Just imagine there's a snail trail of oil from his manhood dragging behind him. It's like a fucking it's a snail trail leading off to this private chamber. And if anybody walks in that direction, they're gonna slip and fall. They need to put a sign down or something because you're gonna break a hip.
People will see this oily river and they will just simply avoid the thing entirely.
So yeah, Blogveer will go about scraping himself clean. He's never actually. I mean, he's heard of fancy people doing this, but he's never done it before, so he doesn't know if he's doing it right. He just grabs the thing and just like scrapes himself like he'd imagine a tanner would do when he's trying to get a hide ready. He'll just start and then like clean the.
Well, you're not wrong.
And he'll just do that and meticulously. He'll get all the nooks and crannies, and he'll make his hair presentable. Like I said, he'll put it in a ponytail of sorts and make sure it smells good, and it is more manageable than the wild look he had. And it'll probably take him a while to do all that. So that's what he'll be doing. Every once in a while you hear like a flop, and he'll just flop off some oil and dirt and gunk off of him. You just hear a flop.
The servants will be working for their paychecks today. We'll leave that to them.
Well, Shihan's gonna go back into the bath and go under the water, and he come up and do that majestic hair flip.
Oh, supermodel pose. There you go.
Exactly. So.
How long do you guys spend in this bathhouse? As you guys aren't really pressed for time, and Myos said he would be back for you that evening. It is currently just before noon. So you've got about 6.5 hours.
Well, Blogveer is going to take his time meticulously, and he'll even try to find like some shears or something to take to his fingernails and everything, and get the dirt out of them and trim them with a knife or something. He's going to take his time. He wants to get this right, and he's doing his best to look the best he's ever been in his entire life. This is the best anybody's ever gonna see Blogveer look like. So this is it's gonna be like
you
for the
better have
ages.
the money ready, Shihan. You better have the
Oh,
money ready.
how much are they wanting for all of this?
We'll say if Blogveer takes the next 5.5, 6.5 hours, that'll cost about 6.5 gold.
Okay.
And he will have everything that he could possibly need brought to him, so he can
Okay.
do it himself.
In that case, I will hand the old lady 7 of the pieces of gold and tell her just take care of them. So, and what services other than just the bath do they have? Did I see anybody else doing anything or anything else going on in here? Or
There are massages being given with
Okay.
oils and such. You have a couple people who are being covered in clay to have
Okay.
that their skin exfoliated. Some nonsense from civilized lands that you've never seen before, but yeah.
The massage thing looks interesting. I want to try that.
Okay. That'll cost you about 20 silver there too.
Okay, for no problem. I'll hand it over. I just like that looks interesting. So
Now, did you make sure that it's a woman or is it a guy that's rubbing on you?
I'm
You
Faye. I
check
don't
who's
care.
going in there.
Yeah, Fae are predominantly bisexual. It's
Yeah,
not going to
they don't
bother
really
him
care.
at all.
Blogbeard wouldn't want any one of them to do it because they're fucking Atlanteans. He's slowly learning. He's a fucking racist bigot, but he's trying. Teach me your just scaly fucking hands, you fish fuckers.
Yeah. Oh, and I do engage at least one Atlantean in a conversation concerning about I tell them I don't want to bring offense, but I have heard and I need to know the truth of this. Do Atlantean men have congress with fishes? Because I've heard this. I don't know if it's true or not.
The Atlantean man that you're speaking to, he laughs at you, and he says that's a really good joke, but not fishes, mermaids.
Okay. Mermaids.
Like fish women.
Oh, so he was half right. Okay.
But it's not like he launches into like explaining how one would have sex with a mermaid.
Shihan listens with rapt attention to that. Just because he's like, oh, this is interesting. They do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't seem nearly as fun.
He explains it's similar to, I suppose, how, well, he'll pause and say, how do Fae breed? And so you compare notes if you're receptive.
Oh yeah. He'll launch into the whole ritual and the fact that it's a lot easier when everyone involved is drunk. But that's where the embellish stuff,
Which some of the Atlantean young bucks are like, that sounds awesome.
Oh yes. I go into some of the like the fertility rituals they do around the time of the harvest or kind of planting and stuff like that, and so yeah, he gets fairly graphic with it. He just said he's not really, no one's really asked him about what his views on sex and sexuality are. So he's very frank about everything.
Might be a lot of blushing, red-faced people in that fucking room.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I don't know. I mean, Atlanteans are pretty randy themselves, so this is probably just this is dinner conversation for them. So
yeah. So
one of the older Atlanteans comments, well, these harvest rituals and these fertility rites that you speak of, how are they this season on the mainland when there are demons and bandits and cultists and dark forces keeping everyone from performing their fertility rites. It sounds very frustrating if one is in the mood and you and your lady would like to be intimate. It sounds as if demons and rat-eating spirits are destroying the mood for everyone. How do you, as a native, respectfully, how do you handle this?
As this guy starts mentioning this, the Shihan's entire demeanor changes.
As he's kind of described this, the entire purpose of your leaving your homeland just kind of rushes back into your forefront.
Not well. That's
everyone else around you, we'll say there's about 14 dudes around you, maybe a handful of women. They all kind of give you a grim look, like, well, continue, please, but they're respectful enough to leave it.
Yeah, he sort of, with that, sort of leans back and gets a bit of a faraway look on his eyes as he's thinking about all these things that have gone on.
Keep in mind that you have been plied with honeyed wine to keep talking this entire time.
Okay. He, as he looks off in the distance, he says, "It has been very difficult this year. The disruption of the rituals has caused death. It's caused famine, illness. It's caused rivers to run red with blood, because the thing about the Reaper King is this: if the rituals are not performed, he will still reap. Just what he reaps becomes less focused."
You get a couple of gasps from that.
Mm-hmm. And he, a bit of darkness creeps into his voice, because they touched on something that is a bit close to heart. And with his darkness he still has in him, his taint sort of starts coming through just a little bit. And he gets sort of a fiery look in his eyes. He says, there are those who are seeking those who are disrupting this entire year. There's a cult to the north that's been leading this thing. I believe, and as I have been told, their aim is to somehow focus the Reaper King into reaping the gods themselves.
A couple of them look quite worried at each other and say, "Is that a possible thing? Is this demon that potent?"
Well, the one thing you have to understand about the beings of the Fae in general is that within their specific domain, in some cases they can be all powerful. Within their specific area, even gods should not challenge them. And the more he reaps, the more powerful he'll become, until none may stand in his way. He may reap all the way from the mountains to the north, towards the Famatris, all the way to the coast of the sea, maybe even as far as your home Atlantis, which I hear is somewhere beyond the ocean. That may not be a barrier at all to him once he has he's swept his side across all that he sees here and gained all of that power.
That is a terrifying notion.
Mm.
These people should be stopped.
Yeah. If only we had the people to do it. That's the thing. Everyone seems to be worried about their own small little fiefdoms, and worried that their neighbors are going to stick them in the back as soon as they turn to deal with these things. That everyone is just paralyzed. There's no force out there that's capable of dealing with this cult. Myself and Blogbeer were trying to, but we're only two people. Yes, he's very large and I am exquisitely attractive, but that by itself is not enough. You know, if we had a good 100 spears behind us, just to go up there and root these horrible things, you know, these villains out, you know, and stop them from plundering and pilfering graves as they go. You know, they even wear the burial shrouds of corpses.
They a couple of them kind of like scrunch up their noses at that. It's
Yeah. And he leans forward, takes a drink of his Sunny wine, and says, "And they don't even clean them first."
there's one of the women closest to you refills your cup and says, they lie with their dead. Ooh.
They could, as far as I know, that they unclothed them at some point. They may very well may.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh.
I mean, us Fae do all kinds of things, but not that.
So you have a captive audience here who is quite willing to listen to just about everything that you have to say.
Yeah, I'll go through I'll tell them the tale of some of the adventures we've gone through. Of course, starting out with the fact that there are these beasts that live in the swamps north of here, or when I say north of here, back inland of here, that prey upon my kind while we sleep.
Oh my God, you're never going to let that go.
It's a thing now. And of course, describe it quite in detail. I'm sure they get a few gasps and oohs and ahs out of that one. And then the fact that we encountered one that had multiple heads, which was even worse. That's the family version.
The family version.
Well, yeah, one for mom, mouth for mom, mouth for dad, mouth for the kids. And obviously,
thanks, Keith.
And then tell some tales of some of these, these horrible things we've come across. And of course, as more and more of this wine gets into me, of course, things I come out and say, and I start cursing the name of Vindu Kaga, the leader of this cult, and these and what he's done to the horrible people, to the poor people of the North, and how they need to be liberated from this. And I even go into the fact that poor Laura, the chieftain of the goblins, and his poor people are being enslaved by these foul creatures, and all they want to do is be left alone and to do whatever it is goblins do. Probably has to do with mud, and just go on and on and on about these guys. And then I start telling them about Gilfrick and how he was such a great breeded folk and a great companion. And I wind up leaning like on the shoulder of one of the Atlantean men and telling him very, closely at his face, as I'm somewhat drunk at this point, that he, my poor friend Gilfrick has been taken from us and he died. But I've sent him many, many slaves. And I got to do a real quick cunning check.
Let's see if he. You gonna let that last part slide?
With a negative. I'll take -4, right? How about that?
Yep.
Okay, in that case, it'll be a 9.
Oh no!
And I let it slip. That there are many Atlanteans that are now his servants in the afterlife.
Oh, not a good thing to say. A couple of them just kind of like, wait, what?
Okay. I'm like, oh, they're brave soldiers. They're great fighters. Yes, you people have make very good fighters. So, and I will say this: I've never seen one run.
Your audience kind of pulls back at that last statement.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're.
I look around.
Yeah,
it starts sinking in what I just said. Oh. You must understand in the wilderness, sometimes friends wind up on opposite sides of things. So It's nothing personal. I don't hate Atlanteans.
Hmm. Make a persuasion test, quick.
Okay. Can I do a lure test instead?
No, no, no.
Cool. Okay. That's gonna be that's based off of physique or spirit. Spirit, is it?
Persuade is spirit. Yes.
Okay. 12.
Okay. All right. They'll actually accept that. They're a little tentative, but they'll accept that. The wilderness has a way of turning friends against itself, against each other.
They do. And you know, now I think about it, if I had just talked to those guys, they probably could have dealt with this cult thing for me. Oh well. It's water under a bridge. He snickers a little bit at that.
So it's been several hours at this point.
Mhm.
Let's have a brief soliloquy from Blogveer as he is making himself presentable. And once you're finished, you can rejoin the rest of the scene there. Take it
Well,
away, Grant.
as he's in there and he is scraping himself and going about his routine, he can't help but he feels Blogbeer. He feels excited, but he also feels a very very heavy sense of dread. He's came all this way um, to find the one he loves, and he doesn't know if she is even going to accept him, if she even wants to see him, if she's going to leave with him. And not only is the fear of the rejection haunting him, but also the fact that all this time him and Shihan have spent going south, going down here to find her. Um, the cult is just moving with impunity. They're doing whatever they want. No one's stopping them, and the lives that are no doubtedly been taken by them. And as we go on this quest to find Kaya, though that weighs heavily upon him too. And Blogveer, he knows that it also eats away at Shihan. That Shihan is a great friend for helping him uh, reach the climax of this part of his journey, but it's a great cost to him. And that his people need help, and his homeland is in jeopardy and in danger. And it seems that Blogveer and Shihan are the only people that are going to do anything about it. And we're off looking for Blogveer's lost love. So he has all these thoughts racing through his head. Um, None of them are comforting. Um, the only thing that will bring him comfort is if Kaya does accept him and everything lives happily ever after and works out in the way it's supposed to. Because if she doesn't, and this whole adventure, this whole trek was a farce, was a waste of time, then Blogveer couldn't live with himself. Um, that he gained nothing from it, and Shihan had would have lost so much from the time spent uh, chasing childhood lovers. So Blogveer is in a very panicked and excited state, and he's on pin and needles, waiting to see what's going to happen when he does see Kaya, and hopefully it will all work out in the end. At least some good will come of this whole ordeal, and and regardless if it works out for the best or not, uh, the sooner it's done, the better. Because the sooner it's done, the sooner Shihan and Blogbeer can go back and start heading back to help the people with the cult, who's the real enemy. And all these thoughts is weigh heavily on Blogbeer as he finishes all of his grooming and begins putting his armor and weapons back on. And as he leaves the curtain and makes his way back to his comrade,
Blogveer cleans up pretty damn good, huh?
Not bad, not bad.
Uh, you guys have the floor. Go for it.
I leave you alone for a couple hours, Shihan, and look at you now,
Hmm?
already making friends.
Well, yeah, this is. I give their names.
Oh, I meant the alcohol.
Oh, that too. Yeah, they're the ones that brought it to me. Uh, he sort of sits back and looks at it and thinks and looks up the log bridge. Oh yeah, that's right. He slides this aside. Says, "I can't have any more of that for right now. I've got to go with my friend to see his love finally. He's been looking for her for a long time."
One of the Atlantean ladies asks how long you've been looking, or Blogveer's been looking.
And Blogbeer, his eyes, he goes off into that 1,000-yard stare as he just remembers. Yeah, I've been looking ever since the Atlanteans took her from me. Ever since they invaded our village and slaughtered everyone and took the women and children.
The group kind of gets a rather somber look, and the woman who spoke up initially says, "So you're also one of the many who has been displaced by our coming here."
Oh yes.
A couple of them actually apologize for that.
There was a time that I wouldn't set foot in an Atlantean settlement without my blade in my hand, killing everyone I see, but I know now that not all Atlanteans are ruthless, warmongering sons of whores, and there are those who just want to live their life like I did. And it is difficult, but I'm learning to trust you folks more. It is a hard thing to do. You must understand when an invader comes and takes the only thing that ever mattered to you away and kills your livelihood, all the friends you had. Forgiveness will not come easy. It'll be a very long, hard road.
Make a premonition test here. I'm going to see if you actually read the crowd.
Oh shit. Where the fuck is that?
It also runs off of spirit.
Yep. That's an 8.
Oh,
he is not gifted in such things.
they the majority of them seem like they sympathize with your situation, and the woman who spoke up initially, she wishes you luck, and she says, I hope that your mate takes you back.
As do I. I fear life in a lavish city such as yours may have changed her. It has been far too long since I've seen her. And I apologize if I may have sent any of your sons or husbands to the afterlife. War is hell. And Blogveer will, he won't look at nobody. He kind of just look away and kind of just clear his throat.
So yeah, so Shihan's looking at this crowd too as Blogger's telling his story. He's a bit clear. His mind's a bit clouded from the alcohol. He's going to get some some nice, cool, clear water to sort of wash some of that down a bit with, and hopefully dilute it just a bit. But he just sort of nods, and as everything Blogger says, and is a good supporting guy.
Where do you wish to go from here?
About what time is it when we're all said and done?
It is getting close to dusk.
Did he say where he's going to meet us at, or he just said he's going to come get us? I'm
He said he
assuming.
would meet you back at that fountain.
I guess we should head to the fountain then and just wait for his arrival. There's no sense in wandering the city and getting lost and all this shit so close to, the revelation. So I guess Blockbeard will just say his goodbyes to the folks in there and give his sincere thanks and apologies to the workers there for the crime scene they're going to have to clean up in that stall. So, and he will take his leave.
Yeah, as soon as you guys begin to leave, the servants there are beginning the cleanup of that crime scene, and they're so not used to dealing with ogre clients. You see
Probably
yourselves,
crying.
right? Yeah, right. It's God. It smells like onions. I'll just shit on
I'm not
Blockbeard for a
fresh from
moment.
cider.
There
So
may
he-
be a few onion sprouts laying there that were
Yeah,
growing in
I
places.
was about to say, onions were growing in his beard. So,
Isn't
His
it was
underarms are
it was
a
dirty
garden
enough. It
now.
had enough soil in there to have a garden. Oh my god!
Yeah, he had a whole ecosystem in his hair.
mhm. He discovers a new species, there's a whole new civilization that was growing in his beard of really small people. Now,
Ew. Oh. Oh god.
There's
Ew.
a new race confirmed, everybody.
Oh
yes,
god.
not playable
Beard
though. 'Cause small,
brownies. There you go.
Beard
beard
fairies,
brownies, beard
beard
brownies,
dwellers, beard brownies.
beard
There we go.
brownies.
Beard
Yep, there
brownies.
you go.
You see yourselves out to the street and back to that fountain where that the scarlet-clad Atlantean Myos is waiting for you. As you walk up to him, Myos looks Blogveer over, and with a smirk that slowly paints its way across his face, it slowly morphs into a smile. He says, "Oh, so there is a man under there. It was a beast before. You clean up quite nicely."
I must admit, I'd rather be covered in the blood of my enemies than this fragrant oil, but sacrifices have to be made.
Only this once, I hope. He kind of waves at you a little dismissively, and he turns on his heel. He's actually barefoot, walking through the city, through a series of winding cobblestone roads. You are brought to a villa that, just as you enter the building, the last light of dusk passes beyond the edge of the world, and you are brought into kind of like a living room, presentation room, kind of this. It's kind of
Drawing room.
yeah, excuse me, yeah, drawing room. Thank you. Kind of a wide area that's got curtains off in certain places to create smaller rooms for privacy and such like. But the curtains are all drawn, and there is one chair at one end. It's a big long rectangle in this room, and there's kind of a low, like a 6 or 8 inch deep trough. Kind of in a U shape around the outside of this room that's actually kind of a flowing river fountain kind of thing. So it's kind of got a kind of an internal hydraulic air conditioning sort of thing with an open ceiling that looks up to the sky and the moon there. And Myos goes to sit down in his lavish chair, and you two stand before him, and he says, "Tell me about yourselves, and tell me about your travels."
Blogbeard just looks at Shihan and looks back at this god before him, basically. Uh, we have traveled. Look at Shihan. I can't remember how long. We traveled
Long way.
almost the breadth of the land. And
That is a vast sum of distance.
we have had our fair share of battles with your kind and the cultist. We have lost friends,
He
gained,
nods.
gained allies. It seems like this is all we've been doing our entire lives. We've been doing it so long, I can barely remember the time before. And it seems that there's never an end to it. And these cultists, if we don't stop them, there won't be much left to save. And he just grits his teeth a little bit and clears his throat, and he just looks at Shihan like, please take over. Like, please. Like, just go ahead.
Well, you see, it all began in the swamp. And
Oh my God, Keith.
he is still a little bit tipsy.
Oh, dude, I love you. Thank you so
but,
much for being here. Continue, please.
Yes, he'll launch into his story once again about the great beasts of the swamp that they eat the Fae and having to deal with that, and how the way he wound up there in the first place is a bit of a story as well. And being the fact that he's
part way through this story, he says, "Tell me of your youth."
My youth, yes. You see, I was my father. Well, he and his brother were somewhat unique among our people in the fact that their birth was seen as auspicious, I guess you would say. They had as you see, most of my kind have the darker hair. Theirs was a beautiful, the color of sunlight, as seen filtered through trees.
His eyes go a little wide at that. Never hearing of blonde hair before.
And of course, they were seen as exceedingly beautiful and such. But myself and my cousin, as children, we played quite a bit in the glades among the trees, which my people hold be very sacred. Just so you know, they tend to defend them very heavily. In fact, even laying down their very lives for them.
He nods.
Future note. And telling, hearing tales, singing songs, learning the songs of our people, the tales of our people, and such. Of course, I paid attention with one ear, while my cousin was much more rapt at that, and he was much more the singer than I am. He did not make it to the trees, unfortunately. But I ran afoul of some nobles. After once I got older, my wanderlust took over. But our people don't wander far. You won't see many of us living in far-flung distances. We stay fairly close to our trees. But so our wanderlust tends to be the exploring of the areas around our forests and such, and the people that we interact with. And I'll tell you, at one time, I saw them as little more than beasts who were very clever. I didn't think that what we would call Nemercians were even really much more than animals. And my people would hunt them for sport. And that's one of the things that I would do. I would lead these hunts. I would guide young noblemen to be able to slake their bloodlust on these Nemercian men who would challenge us when we came near their villages. But never once would I lead these hunts into the villages themselves. One time, only one time, there were a group of 4 young noblemen, barely old enough to be even called adult. They wanted to get their spears bloody. And of course, who would they like to have taking them but the Red Blade himself? Because I had made a name for coming back with my weapons bloodied as a sign that we'd actually encountered the foes and heads in a bundle upon my horse's flank, and they saw a village, and the men were out hunting. I thought to myself, I'll lead them near the village and we'll find the men. Oh no, they chose instead to charge into this village of women and children and the elderly and indiscriminately begin slaying all they saw before them. Now, as any good hunter will tell you, you can't kill everything. If you do, there will be nothing to hunt next year.
Oh heavens, no, of course not.
So, not wanting to participate in this wasteful slaughter, I used my skills to track the men of the village, found them, made a spectacle of myself, and so that they would see me, and led them back to their village where they found these four young noblemen slaughtering their families. And they did what any Nemersian would do. They charged in and they slew. Unfortunately, they did not slay all of them. There was one who survived and made it back to my people. And of course, he accused me of striking down a nobleman with my blade, which never happened. Might as well. If I could have, I would have, but I didn't get a chance to. And thus I wound up out in the world with these little stubs. I used to have great curving horns that curved over the back of my head and out, and were very, very majestic. But because of my inability to indiscriminately slaughter, they were broken off by the root, and I was cast out. So that's the thing. Actually, Blogbeard probably never actually heard the whole story of before. So
No, Blogbeard, he's been listening intently. He has not heard that whole story, and he had a somber look in his eye, like he didn't know all this.
and the way I found that the Mercians were not as beastly as I assumed was I found myself in need of shelter, and I found a village of the Mercians. And though their kind call us forest devils,
They took you in.
they took me in. Yes. Not long after that, though, this creature, this dark king, led his menagerie of inbred things into that village and slayed many of them. There are some left. They don't. They reside now not too far north of here. They enjoy the protection of your people now.
I had heard that a village of natives had crossed the river and
Yes.
they had set up a sanctuary on the
Yes.
edge of a fortress, a country fortress north of it. That must be who you're speaking of.
It is. So they're fleeing the areas where this this bandit has been taking all of the materials that are required for the harvest rituals. They have deals with local lords of the Fae to help their harvests and make them bountiful. And if they do not perform those, retribution is demanded. Thus, many have died. Um, Crops have failed. Illness and famine are rampant, and they run. They run to your people. I will say this: behind them, you will eventually find these reapers coming to take their due, and the Atlanteans being in their area bother them not.
I hope that such a thing will come to pass. As unfortunate as it is, my people are happy to lend a protective shield to those who wish to have shelter
Mm.
for most of the purposes, or for trade. However,
Yes.
he kind
Well,
of readjusts in his chair, and hopefully they are able to stand on their own feet again. and go back to their ancestral homeland.
Until this cult has been dealt with, there's really no hope of them returning. All they return to is death if they go back now.
He
And then he
nods.
launches into the story of the cult.
Which you describing the cult actually, you see there's a change in Myos. He becomes infuriated with this situation. These people are being driven from their homes by a demon that only wishes to perform the task that it only knows how to perform, and magicians are meaning to harness that power for a selfish need or something so misguided and quite literally, he says, idiotic. The gods are the reason why we mortals are here. Why would you wish to get rid of such a thing? And it comes out in conversation that he is the son of the sea god, and if his patron, his father, was to be slain, then there would be no ocean, there would be no fishes, there would be no rivers.
Well, these mortals believe that if they harness the power of the Reaper King, that they somehow will gain the power of the gods themselves.
That is silly and stupid to think.
And here I was thinking that mortals were more than clever animals, and these men prove that in some cases they're not.
No, mortals are far more than we give them credit for, unfortunately.
But although I love plying you with stories, good sir, there is a reunion that Blogfear here has been waiting for a very long time.
We are gaining upon that.
Mm.
He turns his gaze, those beautiful sea blue eyes, upon Blogveer. Tell me of your youth, so that I may weigh you and judge you.
I grew up in the same village Kaya did, to the north of here.
He nods knowingly, almost like accepting it as truth.
My mother, she was a farmer by trade, and my father was a blacksmith making the tools for the village. And they had they had they had 3 children, and I am the only one that is left. My childhood was fraught with trouble. I was no farmer. I had no knack for it. I was no blacksmith. I could not grasp it. I was good at beating things. I had my trusty stick, and I could damn near kill any creature that came close to the village, but I was no hunter. I lacked the subtlety of such things. In a sense, I was a pariah because I fit in nowhere, and I had no trade to contribute to the village. So I had very few friends, and from a young age, I've always been enamored with Kaya. She, to me, was the most beautiful woman I've ever laid eyes on. But her family was a very, very profitable and prominent family in the village, and the suitors that came to her were far more well-to-do than I was.
Why did she choose you over this army of suitors?
That is a question you must ask her. Because I ask
Hmm.
myself that every time I would close my eyes. It doesn't make sense if you think about it logically, but I guess love isn't logic. But as I got older, I learned how to swing a club very, very proficiently. And when you came from the sea, claiming to conquer our lands, people did not frown upon my skills so much.
So you proved yourself to be a great warrior of your people.
Yes, and
Do you think that is why she chose you?
the hubris of me wants to believe so, that I am a great warrior, that I have taken, she is smitten with me for my prowess, but I cannot say with any certainty if that is why. She, it's been so long. I want to say she took a fancy to me before you came, but the lines are blurred. I I began getting the nerve up to begin asking her for courtship, and when I did present myself, her father damn near killed me himself. He couldn't think of the audacity of me, this basically a peasant in his eyes, coming up there to try to court his daughter. But she is she is a very convincing woman, and she's a flower made of bronze because she is delicate, but she is also very strong in her own way. Her will is nigh unbreakable. She wouldn't have any of it. This is her courtship, and she was going to pick who she wanted to. And
Myos smiles at that.
and at first, it did not go very well. I was never a good gardener, so when I attempted to woo her by tending to her garden and her plants, I killed almost all of them. And
He
where
laughs.
that is the same response she had, where most women would be furious or sad or hateful, she merely chuckled at this oafish buffoon rummaging through her garden like a woodland critter looking for food. So, when my thumb turned out to be more black than green, I began menial tasks around her house, getting firewood stacked for her, chopping the wood, bringing her supplies she needed from the village, moving stuff for her, cleaning her abode the best I could. I was no homemaker.
How was this received when you began to clean and work for her and dote upon her as if she was a princess?
She she was no stranger to being doted upon. All the young bucks in the village doted upon her. She was not the most uh, well-to-do. Her family was not the wealthiest by means of land or anything, but she was the most one of the most popular girls in there because of her kindness and her beauty, which was tempered with her will. She wasn't a airheaded lass looking to ride the coattails of a more uh, productive and wealthy male. She was her own woman who was seeking a companionship. She was seeking a mate. She wasn't seeking a easy ticket to life. And
I see. She sounds unforgettable and most precious.
and you can see why I've risked my life and the life of my friends to come all this way to meet her again.
He
She,
nods.
when I began the menial task of the manual labor around her house, she began to look upon me more warmly than the others. The others could ply her with gifts of livestock and crops and endowment and security in her future, but they wouldn't do the things I did.
They would not
And
clean her home and mend her clothes or cut her wood. They would not
some
work for her.
some tried, but you can tell that their hearts weren't in it. They wanted her as a trophy mate. They wanted her, and they didn't want to work that hard to get her. They were hoping that their charms and their wealth would win her over. But I had nothing to lose and everything to gain. So I put my heart and soul into every task that was set upon me. I would be her pack mule. I would be her her tailor, her seamstress. I would do whatever needed to be done, and I wouldn't do it all well, but I did it from the heart, and she knew that. And as this went on, she began to denying any other suitor, and she began to solely take my courtship. And just before I was called off to battle you and your kind, we held hands, and that was the single happiest moment of my life that she would share that with me.
She has spoken to me about ogres and their anonymity when it comes to courtship. The simple act of holding one's hand is far more intimate amongst your kind than
It is.
possibly it would be amongst ours. It was described to me as an earth changing event of the heart. And he makes a fist and he touches his fist to his chest.
It's when an animal finds their mate that they will be with for life. That is the symbol of such a thing that and it is a life changing moment when a young ogre holds the hand of the one that they love. That is a defining moment in their life. And I revisit that day, that memory. I revisit it often when I sleep, for it is the last happy memory I have of her, and the rest is blood. I enlisted with a ragtag group of militia set to defend our shores from your kind, and we had some successful campaigns. But as you know, you Atlanteans are tenacious, and eventually, in the end, it did not matter. When I was let go, when the militia was broken, when we were told that there's nothing to fight for, that the war was over, I sent back home. And I went home with happiness in my heart that I could go home and live out my life in peace, that it was over. Yes, these conquerors have come and they will have to be just dealt with. You would have to deal with it. They are here now. There's nothing to do about it. We tried and we failed. But I was going to live the rest of my life in happiness, knowing that I could have it with her. And all that was shattered in an instant by flames and blood and screaming. Uh, I know not if they were acting on the orders of their superior or this band just happened to enjoy killing, but there was nothing left of that village. By the time I got there, I, I tried to fight my way through them. It was me and a handful of other young men. They weren't soldiers. They were farmers. They had pitchforks. They had shears. They weren't fighters. I cut down my fair share, but it wasn't enough. And I saw them load her up and take her and the rest of the slaves away, and I couldn't follow. I couldn't. I was near death. That was all I could do was to run, and I ran to my best friend Gilfek, his village. It wasn't too far, but it was far enough for a wounded ogre. And as I got there, I saw that the Atlanteans weren't the only thing that we had to deal with, because my friend Gilfek, when he was discharged, he went back to his family. Except there was no family to go back to because the cult had killed them all, taken their secrets. And I vowed to join my friend Gilfek in finding his son. I lost my love. At least there was a chance that he could find his son. And so we set off on this adventure, this journey to kill this cult and to find his son. And then one particularly dreary day, we stumbled across a fair folk, and the rest is history. And everything else has led up to this moment now. The dead Atlanteans, the dead cultists, everything we've been through is now built up to this moment.
So
My
Myos takes a long, deep. Well, go for it, Grant. Sorry, to cut you off.
I said before that I had two siblings. One died as a child from sickness. The other, he looks away, but you can see that he's crying a little bit. And the other was one of those farmers that fought beside me. He was my brother. He was barely a man, but he died defending what he loved. Just like my father. My father died defending my mother from that attack. So in that instant, I lost everything, and I vowed that Gilfek wouldn't have to lose everything. That I would help him find his son. So now we are here. This is the only thing I have left in the world to live for, and I will see soon, I hope, if I am found wanting or I will be embraced with open arms. We will find out.
So with that, Myos stands. He takes in a long breath and then sighs. He goes, "Your story is heavy and weighs on my heart. I apologize on behalf of my kind for separating you and taking so much from you. I had only just recently come to these shores, and much of this madness has transpired before I'd even known. I'll ask you one final time. Do you wish to see Kea?"
Yes, with every fiber of my being, I wish to see her.
Then he smiles at that, and he holds out his hand, and he says, "Then turn and behold."
I turn around as fast as I can, almost damn near doubled over on myself.
And there she is. She has been standing there the entire time, you assume. She is wearing an an ogre-sized Atlantean gown that is embroidered. She has flowers in her hair. She is oiled and perfumed in the Atlantean fashion. She does not wear her hair like Atlantean women, but she she keeps her hair traditional in that the ogre mane, and she just stands there and waits for you.
Blogbeer runs to her, and he stops, and then he falls, and he prostrates in front of her and at her feet, and I am so sorry. I'm so sorry I couldn't stop them. I'm so sorry I let them take you. I He reaches into his pouch and pulls out all of the seashells that he had found. And he looks up at her and he says, "Please, the gift for you, for my incompetence. And I'm sorry it took so long to get here."
She holds out a hand, and she actually waits for you to take her hand.
Blogbeer will take his gauntlet off and he will grasp her hand in his hand and as he's rising to his feet, never stop looking her in the eye. She looked at her the whole time. And he gives her these seashells. He puts some in her hair and um, gives the rest to her, and staring her in the eye the whole time.
There's a long pause that seems like it takes hours, even though it's a few moments. But she steps forward and she drapes her arms around you in a hug, and she just breaks down right there. Just tears, waterworks, the whole nine.
I embrace her back, and being the manly man that Blogbeer is, he totally doesn't cry. He totally doesn't break down in front of his friends and
that's
nothing.
totally lying.
So
You're totally lying.
that totally happened. He doesn't do none of that. He's not sobbing. He is the epitome of Macho Man Randy Savage right now. So it's all good. So he's not weeping over his lover. His tears aren't getting into her hair or anything like that.
Oh, of course not. Nope. I will DM veto anyone who is watching this going, no, he's not crying. He's not crying at all.
Shihan's crying.
Oh, Shihan is crying. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
But he's doing it in a very beautiful way. It's that, very photogenic tear. Perfect. Yeah.
It's the Tolkien elf cry. Oh my god.
Yes, of course.
Blugbear has to stop himself from crushing her. He embraces her, and
it's an ogre hug, man. She hugs you back. You mean if you guys were hugging anyone else, they just pancakes. He just
takes a big whiff and he gets a nostril full of her. She may have perfume and all that, but she smells just like he remembers. She smells of that strong-willed, that bronze flower that isn't above getting her hands dirty to do what she wants to do. He smells her. He smells Kaya. He doesn't smell the perfume, and it is the best thing he's ever smelt in his life. He's scared to look at her again because he's scared he's going to go blind from her beauty. He had almost forgotten what she looked like. It's been so long, and he wants to just be in this embrace forever. He could die right now, and it would be fine. Everything's right in the world.
The darkness is very far away. In this moment, I will allow you to reduce your shadow sickness by 2 points. Shihan, you can reduce yours by 1.
I have 0.
There you go.
Now.
You can now erase your deformity there. Your corruption.
My chat. Oh yes, nice.
All is right with the world, and everything is beautiful.
Yep. There is no cult. There is no, world-ending plot going on. This is just nirvana right now.
Now, she pulls away slightly. Well, to arm's length. She's not taking her hands off of you at this point. Just so you can look at each other. And she said, I had been waiting, and I had thought that you'd forgotten about me.
Totally not crying. Blackbeard says,
Macho Man Randy Savage.
he says, "Oh yeah, brother." No, he says, he looks her in the eye and he says, I could never forget you. Your beauty is seared into my mind. When I close my eyes, it is all I see. You are the reason my heart beats, and I have been incomplete without you. I've been a shell, and if it would take 1,000 more years, I would still come for you.
As you kind of share this this heartfelt and romantic moment between the two of you, it's kind of paused. It's not shattered. It is paused by Myos in from his chair. He says, "Kea, my dear," and she just kind of like leans her head to the side, kind of like looking past you, which kind of naturally turns both of you. Um, Still not pulling away from you and this embrace, but Mayo says, "As my final act as your keeper." He just lets that sink in for a few moments, as possibly Blogveer's heart kind of just drops for a few minutes.
Oh yeah, his heart drops and his rage rises. So
Myos continues saying, "How long has it been since you have embraced thus?" "Nearly a cycle, and some, to my understanding and my math." She kind of like takes a few moments. She kind of mutters, "It has been more than a cycle. It's been a very long time." And Myos continues, "Then as my final act as your keeper, I implore you to punish him as you see fit." He just leans back in his chair and steeples his fingers with a wicked asshole grin on his face. And she pulls away from Blogveer at this point. I mean, it's a little bit more dramatic than it possibly needs to. She pulls away from Blogveer. She says, "Yes, I must. It is only our custom, my love."
Blogbeer will turn his head and present his chin, getting ready to get a beat down.
She does not strike you. She says, "Myos has become a very loving and caring friend, as well as protector, in these many months since we have been separated. And I have learned many of the things that Atlanteans know and have brought to our home. And hearing your story, as well as our dear Shihan, I feel that the darkness may have crept into your heart." She looks Blogveer dead into his eyes, like into his soul. The only way a lover can look into your soul.
It had. The darkness was there. You don't go through what we've gone through and not be touched by it. But there's a shining beacon that has driven the darkness away. And Blogger just looks at her and just squeezes her hand.
She pulls her hand away from yours and says, I wish to begin our courtship as if we had never met previously. Which,
Deadpan, stern face. Blogger
in-
just nods to her.
in simple terms, it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, I have to go through this whole thing again. Oh, God.
Yep, but doesn't even cross Blogveer's mind. Blogveer
No. Ooh,
he will
okay.
do menial chores for her for eternity.
That's
whatever
mostly
it
for
takes.
Shihan's benefit, mind you.
So yes, Shihan, anybody else would be like, what the fuck? All this time, now we're back at square one. He climbed the ladder, now he's back at the bottom. But Blogveer is unfazed by it. He's eager. He's actually eager to do it.
And she looks hopeful at you. So you accept this?
I accept. I always accept. Thousands and thousands of cycles. I will accept. I will do whatever needs to be done.
She kind of straightens up at that, as regal and as a queen or a princess would. She looks at Myos and says, that is his punishment then. And Myos, just lounging in his chair, says, yeah, no, he doesn't say anything. He just nods. Then I release you from my services. You are free to go. You gather your things and return as your courtship would allow to your ancestral homeland. And Myos kind of just like dismissively waves at the three of you.
Blogver will go over there and pick him up and hug him.
Shihan bursts out laughing as soon as he does.
Myos will not let you hug him.
Nope,
there's a
nope.
dagger in his hand. You come at him. He will stick you.
Then at the cost of getting shanked, he will just extend his hand into him.
He'll reach up and he'll take your basically your index finger, as that would be the size to shake your hand, really.
Thank you for taking care of her. Thank you for not debasing her as other slavers would.
Oh, she was never a slave. Not in my home.
I'm in your debt.
If you are in my debt, then I will ask one thing of you.
Ask.
Shihan sighs. Why do you have to say that?
Take care of these cultists. I cannot leave this city as a being of my stature might disrupt the energies of the world, and I cannot assist you in this matter. I am unfortunately bound to the sea.
We shall take care of these cultists. Even if it's me and Shihan to do it by ourselves.
Shihan tilts his head at that, and he says, you can't leave the sea, but could your seal not?
My seal?
Could you by chance draw up some orders for, say, those troops of yours closer to these cultists to assist us in dealing with these?
Oh, I do not command the military. I am a sea captain. However, I do know a handful that could possibly lend some scouts information, but they certainly could not leave their outposts.
At
They
least
could
not.
arm you with all sorts of information and intel.
Yes, that would be helpful, and at least not hinder our progress. So
Surely the Atlantean commanders know that if they don't do anything but to stop this cult, then their conquest would be for naught.
At this time, the conquest has plateaued, if you will. It is a thing that these cultists have beaten back these natives more than we ever possibly could, and now we have really all of the land that we need. It's up to the queen if we push on farther, and she's foking her intentions more to the forests and the west of here.
that makes
Because-
Shihan's eyes go hard.
And,
She'll regret that, he says.
oh, I know she will.
Is there
No
way to
small
audience?
amount of trees must be felled to build more of our ships. And I have spoken with her on the matter multiple times regarding those trees are guarded.
Yes. Those trees are sacred.
She does not see anything sacred outside of our gods and our islands. She is young and naive, and she does not know the ways of other peoples and other gods and other lands.
Then I hope for her sake she learns these things before they bring her harm.
Mios shrugs and says, I am the son of the sea god. I am a sea captain. I go where my banner is told to go, and more often than not, all I do is sail around this world without a care.
To have such a life.
Well, I hope for all of our sakes that me and Shihan can bring it into this cult. Because if we don't stop them, nobody's going to. And then, all too soon, your queen will realize that she should have acted sooner and had her focus on more pressing matters. As the natives, too, they're too busy quarreling amongst themselves. The bigger picture's there, the bigger threat. They can't see the forest for the trees.
Mhm.
I would suggest you return to your homeland and tell your people amongst the trees that that is where she's going to strike next. As
Yes.
an enemy to an enemy, I would tell you you should do this before you do anything else, and take Kea with you.
Yes.
I will begin my courtship with Kea. Shihan, I help you now. We go to your people. I
Maybe
go back.
travelers.
I just grab Shihan and give him a giant hug. Say, thank you, brother.
Okay. Hey, just let me go.
I drop him. We will see your people safe. I look back at Mios and you're making it hard for me to relish in killing your kind.
Just be sure that those of us that you wish to slay and send into the afterlife deserve it.
Oh, I do.
There's good and evil in every society and in every people.
Those who lay axe upon the trees of my people will find their blood watering those same trees.
Make it so.
Yeah.
Now get out of my house.
Not all Atlanteans are bad after all.
But some are, as Shihan says flatly.
Yes.
Miles just nods. He's not phased by any of this. He's being a demigod. He is far more aloof to the politics of the situation. Like he said, all he does is sail, and that's his life.
Well, thank you for everything, demigod of the sea, and I hope that the wind fills your sails for all eternity.
Hopefully not for all eternity, because I must die of old age someday.
Oh, there was the fun in that.
Shihan sort of tilts his head at that and says, interesting.
Blogbeer will bow, and then he will help Kaya get her. He'll carry all Kaya's stuff and get her unpacked and get ready to leave the place.
A couple of the attendants, well, Kaya is technically one of these attendants, but a couple more Atlantean women come with her as she leads you to basically to what comes out to be like an apartment. Yeah, she has her own like apartments in this villa. She has Blogveer, you'll recognize a handful of things that were indeed hers from the old days, but a lot of the replacements are indeed Atlantean make, as obviously she's spent time most of the time here with these people. She owns a pair of horses, a cart. She obviously has her bedding, all of her clothes, her personal belongings. She has a loom, like that ogre-sized portable loom that you remember, that you fucking hate that thing because it's enormous and she always wants it moved. But it has Atlantean-made bronze parts, so it works a lot better than it did before. So yeah, Blogveer will have a moment where like, you still have this fucking thing. I thought I broke that.
Like, goddamn, this thing didn't burn up. Fuck.
Oh, this is the last thing that I wanted to see. No.
No, I mean, oh, look at that. Oh, it's so nice that it survived. Fuck.
But no, you spend the better part of that evening, the next several hours, as the five of you really are loading up her one cart.
Nope. I'm doing it all by myself. I refuse to have anybody else do it. I'm doing it all.
Then you guys are going to be there until like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Blogveer will just gather all he can, for like one trip, and then go back and go back and go back, and they can have some lemonade or something, and then watch him, because this is his courtship, and he's gonna do whatever needs to be done for her. So
Shihan will find a corner to curl up in and go to sleep while his friend's doing this.
Keith, isn't there an Alabama or an Oklahoma saying where if you're going to do something in one trip, you're going to do something in one trip? Isn't that a thing?
It's just a general thing, yeah. I can get it in one trip, dang it, yeah.
If I go to the grocery store, I'm taking everything in one trip, or I'm dying.
It's a guy thing, yeah, in general.
Yeah. So yeah, we can kind of montage through Blogfear doing all of this shit for her. And we'll say, actually, no, I'll have Grant do it. Grant, roll me some dice. 2 dice. Tell me what you get.
I got a 7 and a 2.
All right. You do not break anything.
Oh, not even a loom? Oh, that's nice. That's fortunate.
Yeah, right. That's what I was rolling for. See if you broke the loom again. No, it's like, oh shit, I tried to break it, but I didn't get to. No.
Oh, it was like that when I found it, right? Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't know it was broken already?
So, after you're finally finished packing all of her things, the cockerel finally crows. Shihan wakes up. Now, Blogfear has 1 grade of exhaustion because he has worked all night. You have your sled and your supplies to deal with. You now have in your possession. Okay, Kaya joins the party. All of her supplies, which I will send to you when we're done tonight. And you have your sled. So you have a small caravan of things that are now your inventory.
I'm going to probably tie the sled with some rope behind the carriage, so it's just behind it and dragging along, or the cart or whatever. I mean,
Okay.
just kind of streamline it that
After
way.
a while, the horses will probably not be able to drag both.
Yeah, I'll let them carry it until they start getting. I see they're getting tired, and then I'll unhook it or I'll untie it and I'll pull it myself.
Where are you going? Is my next. That's our next like objective.
That's all on Mr. Redblade. I'm going to help my friend, and I'm going to do everything that Kaya
So,
tells me to in the process, and I will kill all the Atlanteans I can that try to
so,
stop us.
so yes, I think probably the first stop should be we travel back to the north to that group of Nemersians that we'd met outside the fortress.
Right.
And I'm going to,
Mara's people. Okay.
yeah, I'm going to talk to them about. The idea is to go there and talk to them and see if I can get any of them to come with me. So, if they happen to have any fighting men or young men who might want to, seek some adventure, to the north, helping restore the order of things as far as the harvest and such goes. They should help secure their homeland once again.
She can spare 3 of her warriors.
Okay. I will name them next week.
Okay.
So
I was going to do that, but if you wish to do that, that's perfectly fine.
well, either way, I mean, I won't name them the typical 3 persons names, but I can come up with some names for you.
All right, perfect. That's fine. I'll pawn it off on Keith then. Excellent. That'll take 2 days. She has 1 month's worth of provisions in her cart, which is 40 days. How many days did you guys have left in your sled? Keep in mind, she's an ogre. She has the standard 2-to-1 ratio, which would be for someone normal size for like Shihan.
We had about 20 days or 20 provisions left. So that would be about thirds. We had about, let's see here.
Between the 2 of you, then that would be about 10 days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
roughly. That's about what I had.
Blogfear eats twice as much.
Mm-hmm.
So now, are we going to try to get more provisions before we leave the city?
That's up to you. I was actually setting you guys down in Mara's village.
Okay.
So it's been 3 days since you left Myos's place.
Okay.
So we should take off 3 days of food.
Well, we'll start. Actually, we'll gloss over those 3 days, and we'll start your numbers from today in Mara's village. How about that?
Okay.
Okay, that works out pretty well then for me. So, yeah. See, I'll get basically, I'm gonna get everything ready as far as that goes. Yeah, I'll be at this point sort of like a Blogbeer was before, wanting to get to the south. And I want to get back to my people. All at the same time, if Blogbeer has a little bit, he knows his friend now. There's a bit of trepidation, and it's like he wants to go, but he's sort of worried that he's going there again. So.
No idea how he'll be received.
Right.
But Blogbeer also tells Shihan that Blogbeer is with Shihan till the end of days, and whatever obstacle that they're going to face, they're going to face it with Blogbeer at his side. So
I just hope those days aren't very short. My people have a reputation for being a bit ruthless with those who come back too early.
I mean, Blogbeer
there will be a price to be paid.
Blogbeer can let them see how it's going to feel having no horns. You can just rip them out of their head if they're going to be an asshole to you. I mean, that's always the thing. Oh, you just say the word.
As tempting as that is, He thinks about that for just a moment. And he gets sort of a wistful look in his eye. It might not be the best idea.
Well, regardless of how they receive you, you are a great warrior and you are a great friend, and they don't know you the way I know you. They judge you for the past and not the present. So,
Very true, but
to all the hells with them.
I do have some things going for me now that I didn't before, but depending on how they receive me, it could be a good thing or a bad thing. My association with the Pike King may be seen as a good thing or a bad thing.
You could always lie to him.
No,
He just laughs.
no,
Because he knows.
not about
what
this
I'm gonna
thing.
say.
Not about this thing.
Well, I tried.
Hmm.
But regardless what happens, we're no fortune tellers. We'll have to see it when we get there.
That we will.
But
So,
you got me at your side. As long as I draw breath.
and these three and Kea. So,
Hopefully I can keep her out of the fighting.
well, she may decide she wants to be involved with it too. She's a very
She is
capable
her own
seeming
woman.
lady.
I can't make her do anything. She has her own will, but I'll do what I can to make sure that they die before they get to her. Let's just put it at that.
So let's hope she can. So yeah, that's going to be Shihan's main focus is getting himself and his companions ready. He'll also make sure that the three Nemersians are properly armed and armored. So
they are essentially poor Greeks. The three of them, one of them brought a bronze shield. Another one has a bronze short sword that has seen better days.
okay.
And the last one has a bronze mail shirt that has also seen better days.
Okay.
And what's left of a bronze-headed spear.
Okay.
The ones that I did not mention, everyone's wearing at least a leather hauberk.
Okay. I am going to trace back over to that one armorer that helped us out before. And
oh yeah.
I'm going to
take down his name.
His name is. I did not get his name. I do know Evios though. And Lucas the Tavern Keeper
is a traitor.
Those guys
he's
are
a traitor. So
I had not get that we're at the Atlantean city, right? But we're in her village now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, her village is right outside that town though. So
yeah, Evios is the only one that I have.
Yeah, okay. I have Lucas the Tavern Keeper, but I didn't get I don't think we got the armorer's name.
Okay.
But
Warwick the Wild of Ezon.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
So,
he is very far away from you guys right now.
Very, very far.
I'll basically get do some basic provisioning first, as far as paying for some couple of dollars worth of a couple of dollars worth of provisions and such. Like they're basically about 20 silver, I guess, of food and whatnot we can get.
20 silver will get you 7 days. 7 standard provisions, as in you.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, wonderful. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I do that,
standard.
If I do 1 gold, that's going to be enough for basically the 3 humans and then 1 of the ogres for 7 days, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll do that then. But give them 1 gold coin and 20 more silver to basically get enough provisions for all of us for a week. In addition to what we already have.
Doing this with Evios, because he's the one he's the provisioner tradesman that you could speak to about that.
I'm outfitter. Well, yeah, I'm going to give Evios that. I'm going to say, okay, here you go. This is what I want to do with this. If you can have your guy do this for me, I'll put an extra like 20 or 10 silver in there with it. Just as a fee to sort of gather that together and take it back to Kaya here. And I introduced the 2 of them. This is the one he was looking for. Great things. And then I'm going to go over to that the armorer, and I'm going to have my 3 guys outfitted in proper bronze scale and with bronze spears and shields.
The outfitter's name is Inaros.
Inaros, okay.
Inaros.
Okay, all right. Got him in there now. All right.
That's gonna cost you. If you're,
yes, everything I have left.
All right. So, are we doing bronze coats or bronze shirts? What are we doing?
Basically, what I have left, I have. Let me see. Where's my money here? Okay, I had to get those. I've got about 5 gold left.
Okay.
So it's like 5 gold and about 10 silver left. So whatever that will get them.
You could put them all in bronze mail hauberks for their armor. You could buy them helms. You could buy everyone a shield, so 3 of each.
Okay.
That'll come out to. It'll come out to about 2 gold there.
Okay. We'll do that. Get them set up for that. So. And
that's just their armor and their shields. What are you doing with swords or single weapons?
Well, I have 1 spear. One of the guys has a spear. You said already.
Yeah, which has seen better days.
Just seen better days. I'll see if Analos can look at that and see what he thinks. Can it be safe?
It's not battlefield ready. It's not going to last a day on the battlefield.
Okay. Let's see here. Then I will trade him 3 fishing spears for 3 basic bronze spears. How about that?
You can give him 3 of the fishing spears for 1 bronze spear.
Okay.
That's it. Where you're trading tools for weapons at this point.
Okay, I'll lean into him and I'll say, but I do have something else that I will put in there with it. I reach in my pouch and I pull out a bowstring. A bowstring, it seems to be made of woven gold.
Oh.
And have you ever seen the like of this?
He is. I got to roll for that. Hang on here. Oh my! Yeah, he is taken aback by this bowstring of fey hair.
Yes, this is this bowstring. It is woven from the hair of a great warrior woman of the north, an Arborean, one who has herself earned the right to be a warrior.
By the way, sidebar, Keith, I am appalled that you would pawn that shit away.
Well, it's the whole point of the deal is that we're talking about. Well, I have another one.
Me too. 2. Like, damn.
My thought is though I need to get these guys ready because we're about to go into some shit to protect my people. So,
right.
It hurts my soul. Like, I can just see somebody else just touching it, and I'll be like, "No, that's not yours. Get your fucking hands off of it. That's Keith's. You fucking got it. It's a gift, these motherfuckers." No.
Oh shit. All right. He is very impressed by this. He's just. There's kind of like a gasp. Oh my god! Look on his face. Like that's a thing.
Yes. And if you string a bow with this, if you can string a bow with this, the arrows will always fly true. And I have been told in the hands of a skilled archer that they might actually even be able to. Real quick.
which is an obvious lie. God damn it, Keith.
To 13.
Yeah.
They might be able to actually curve around trees and the like.
Oh my God, you lying sack of shit.
13.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, no, he's like, that's not possible.
Okay, so they won't
With
necessarily fly
sorcery.
around trees, but that bowstring will hold taunt even in the heaviest downpour. Unlike the catgut they use around here. Well, not catgut, but probably hair gut.
No, they use the gut of cats. But that is very beautiful. He said this is made of the hair of a warrior woman.
Of the Arborians.
If
you wish to know, her name is Frigate Three Braids.
Interesting. And you I'm sorry, I was muted there for a moment. And you said you would part with this bowstring
for the right price. Yes. I need these men to be properly armed and armored. Would that be a worthy trade?
Not for all of this equipment for the bowstring. No, of course not.
How about the bowstring and 3 gold? Imagine the people who will come just gaze upon this bowstring. And in the process may say, well, if he has something of that great value, what of his bronze work?
He kind of scratches the stubble on his chin. All right. 3 gold in the bowstring for the equipment order.
He reaches into the box, realizes it's all but empty, and hands the 3 gold to the armorer.
Okay. Now your hirelings, really, we'll call it, using those that classic 2nd edition D&D rules. Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, your guys are outfitted. Be sure to write all that down. It's we've got bronze shields. It is shield, not great shield. These are Atlantean bronze helms and Atlantean bronze mail hauberks.
And a spear each, right?
You did not say for the spears. You said for the equipment and the bowstring.
Outfit them. Part of the outfitting is the spears.
That'll cost you another gold.
Okay, that's fine. That leaves us 1 gold left and 10 silver. I'll get that blogger. Here you go. You pay up. You spend this however you wish.
Oh, goody.
A whole gold coin. Oh my.
I got a golden coin.
If you hadn't spent so much making yourself look pretty.
I'm never going to live that down.
Nope.
So, your lackeys are outfitted. We have Kaya's provisions. We have your guys' provisions. We have... What are we missing before we leave the occupied lands?
It should be just ready to go, at least. We have the food. We have the means of transporting it.
Yeah, I think we got everything.
Oh, yeah. We'd hire some bandits to come steal that freaking loom.
Look, I got one
not
gold.
it.
Come in
That's
here
not
and
it.
just take the loom. I don't
Yeah,
care what
just
happens
take the
to it. Just
loom.
take it. I never want to see it again.
But she loves that loom. You would not break her
Yeah, I
heart over
know.
that
I know.
loom.
That's like a dog that you have that you hate but love. Is like, fuck, here, just kill the dog. No, I'm just joking. I fucking love that dog, that fucking asshole. So it's like, that's how it is with a loom, I
That
guess.
dog forcibly makes you find it endearing. Yeah. Ugh.
Ugh.
Okay. All right.
So, other than that, I mean, everything else seems to be in order. I've got plenty of arrows still left. One regular bowstring. Now I have one golden bowstring. Still got my salt. Blankets, a couple of wood cutting axes for us to cut woods and such as we go to make ourselves some. Oh, actually, we can probably make some spare. Um, actually, I'm going to try to find a good sapling on the way out to start working a new bow.
Do we still
Okay.
have that one set of
Along the
carpenter
way.
tools?
Yeah,
Yeah. God, I hope you still have that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, we still
expensive.
we do. Yeah, we do. We haven't traded those away yet. I know where the set is.
Yeah, we have to
Yeah.
go all the
So,
way
yeah,
to
that-
the other set and dig it up. Like, damn, look at this now.
Aside from, I mean, if you guys would have purchased breastplates, which you probably could have, or at least one breastplate, the carpentry tools that you have right now is the most expensive item in your inventory.
Yes. So yeah. So I guess I'll be looking for a good sapling to turn into a bow. Preferably, does you exist in this world?
Is you? I exist. You exist. Sorry, that's God.
Does the
Shut up,
Chinese
Rafe.
god you exist?
Jesus, God, right? A god you? I just
Yeah,
no.
Chinese deity name you.
Oh, right. Why you, not why
Yes.
you. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yes, the you does exist.
Okay. I'll see if I can use a little bit of wood craft to see if I can find. Oh yes, there's an 8.
You're gonna need to make a traveling test before you do anything else, Keith.
Good point. Let me do that. Do the traveling test first.
And where exactly are you going?
I am going to try to find the most direct route possible heading back to my homeland.
Which essentially is not exactly back the way you came, but close
Right.
enough.
So yeah, that's 20 on a traveling test.
Okay.
And then on the Bowyer test, the Wilderness Lord test to see here. That is going to be a 21 for that, 22 for that. For looking for a good yew to harvest to start turning into a new bow.
It takes you just shy of a chain. We'll say 8 days back to, you know what? Back to that cache that you guys had hidden on the river. How about that?
Okay.
You guys are there just some of those 8 days later, and we'll say for the sake of convenience, because I'm being really, really nice as a game master, that tree is in fact a yew.
Okay. And I'll harvest from that, and I will get the other set of woodworking tools. And I am picking one of the Mercians, and I'm going to teach him how to make a bow, or at least start the process. So,
Okay.
I have myself an apprentice bowyer as well. So, and maybe by the time we get back to my people, we'll at least have two other bows, so that if need be, we can have ourselves a bit of a ranged group. So,
Okay. We'll say one of these guys actually has a grade in archery.
okay. In that case, I'll start with him then. If you can shoot a bow, then you know the basics of how you need to what needs to be made into a bow. You just got to be taught how to do that.
He is 22 cycles old, and he's very receptive to your teachings.
All right. And I'm going to do that. And I'm also going to harvest some additional saplings for arrows as well. So I see about how many. Let's see. I'll do a wilderness lore check for that real quick for you.
Okay.
So that's going to be 13 plus 20, so 24 to find a little stand of good wood for arrows. So,
That will take you better part of that evening once you got there.
yeah.
We'll say that you got back to this cache probably about mid-morning. It'll
Okay.
take you late into the evening to find enough for proper arrows. What is Blogveer and Kea doing for, I suppose, that afternoon?
Mhm.
I am in full courtship mode. So all of her whims are, I am doing whatever she needs to be done. She doesn't have to lift a finger to do anything. So if she needs anything done, I do it. And I'm basically just waiting on her hand and foot. uh, kind of Blockbear doesn't want to mess this up, so he's kind of maybe overdoing it, but he doesn't think so. So he's just trying to do everything she tells him to do.
Okay.
And like even stuff she didn't even gotta tell him to do, like get her some food or give her a foot rub. I don't know. He just tries to make it as comfortable as he can for her and everything.
Okay. All right. What she'll do is she'll have you go down to the river and I suppose.
Not the river.
Oh God. No, she'll go down. She'll have you go down to the river, and you'll wash one of her traveling cloaks because she had we'll say she had spilt some I suppose some goat's milk on it, maybe per se. There you go. How about that?
All right. I will. Blogbro cautiously go down to the river, looking everywhere, twice, double checking everything, and he'll get down there and he'll start washing it, but he's not looking at the water. He's like looking around. He's making sure that there's nobody else there, and he'll begin getting this stain out and everything. And he's doing it hastily, but not so fast that he's just ruining everything. But he wants to get the fuck out of there as soon as he can. So
Because we love rivers after dark.
I tell you what, rivers are the best things ever. The most beautiful maidens, often roost near rivers. So,
And it is no surprise to Blogveer and our viewers that a beautiful green-eyed woman comes and visits you at the waterside.
of course she does. I'm just such a fucking lady killer.
No, you aren't. Now, let's see. There's a presence. Boring, cold, hatred holes in the side of your head, just off to the left-hand side from the water's edge. Green pricks of light just creep out of the long grass.
Blogbeard doesn't he knows it there, but he's like, nope, I'm not looking.
Nope, I'm not looking.
If I don't look, it will.
No.
It's not there. And he's just like, his butthole is clenched. He's sweating. His heart is racing. He's like, no, why?
You have not brought me what I have requested.
Oh God!
And she shakes this disembodied hand at you. Just
okay. He
flicks it. It kind of flicks some blood on you. You have some blood, and some of this blood got on the cloak because fuck you.
Okay, Blogbeard. Let's just slowly turn his head and look at this fucking gorgeous thing in front of him.
-8 grades of allure. She is hideous.
This takes time, creature. You will have your bodies. It takes time.
not enough time, it would seem. And she kind of just creeps fucking close to you, and she smells awful. And the presence, like, she's got this aura of just frigid dread around her, and she just kind of like sidles up next to you. She's, I will help you with washing this cloak.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I appreciate it, but
She gets some of her like mossy fucking fingers on it. She kind of like runs her fingertips, like mud encrusted fingers over your wrist. She's, allow me to help you. Now she reaches over and she just, oh shit, she's got a little bit of this blood on your fucking arm. She just, oh.
I will. I did not forget our agreement that you will have your bodies. I'm just cringing looking at her touching this fucking cloak. I just washed this damn thing. Oh, fuck, I hate this bitch.
She takes a long pause as she's draping this. She kind of, whatever she does, she just, this bloody rag just appears in her hand. She pulled it out of some fold in this mossy, disgusting swamp thing rag cloak that she's wearing. She's just like casually, she just kind of like pulls this cloak ever so, like she tugs on it. This cloak, and she's just persistent enough to where she, like, you're not gonna give it to her, of course you're not, but she tugs on it enough to where you're like, oh, fine, I suppose I'll just give it to you. You just give in. And she just, this bloody rag, it's a very pretty light green cloak that she's making brown and disgusting, and you're not doing it right. You must wash away the filth and the muck, and she's not fucking helping, of course.
Well, of course, you're right. You've done such a wonderful job. Thank you. I will have your bodies. You will have them. I have not forgotten. I cannot forget.
And after a while, after she's completely ruined this cloak at this time, she goes, there are many dark things, and there are many battles that still await you, Blogveer. And she kind of takes her disgusting nail, and she pokes you on the cheek with it. She's like, oh, don't touch my face. And then she drags that grody fucking misshapen nail around your cheek. And it's like some endearing nonsense. Just stop.
I'm cringing. I can't help it. I'm visibly cringing. My skin is crawling. Maybe gagging a little bit. Just yes. Many battles, and you will have your people to wash them. Yes.
There are goblins that need to be washed in the river.
Yes, of course there is. That's where goblins should be washed. You're right.
Travel across the river to the place where you came from. That swamp. There are goblins there that mean to pillage these forest devil homes. Send them to me.
Yeah.
She had left a little bit of mud on your cheek from her finger from before, and she reaches up with this bloody rag and wipes off the mud, which just makes it worse. Now you got God knows whose blood on your face now.
Yes, it shall be done.
That next instant, she vanishes. Like, she's gone.
Audible sigh of relief. Water everywhere. Get it all off me. Get it off me. I just look at the cloak and I futilely tried to wash it, and I'm going to have to tell Kaya something. How I ruined her favorite cloak. Well.
You can get, actually, make me a provisioning test quickly.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, I doubt you have grades in provisioning,
Yeah,
but
I don't think I do. Let me
you'll take a
find it.
-4 then. We'll see. Or all right, see if we can
Oh
do it.
wait, no, I got 3. I got 3 in provisioning.
Oh no! There you go.
Okay, so motherfucker, that's a
What?
4 and a 1.
Oh
So
Jesus!
that's like a 9. Like, god damn it.
What's your spirit modifier?
Um, it is a 1.
So that's about a 10.
I think, or it might be.
No, see, no, that's a 9. Yep,
It's a
you're good.
9. Yep. So I got
Yeah.
9.
So you make your damnedest attempt to fix it, but it's got this horrible blood stain in it.
Well, I just stand up, take a deep breath, and gonna go face the music now. Be better if she just took me now. Just took me and washed me, so I wouldn't have to go face hell have
But
no
you
fury.
just got Kea back. You
I know,
can't
but
do
hell
that.
have no fury like a woman who
A
is pissed
washerwoman
off at you.
scorned, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
A woman sent you down to do something and you come back and ruin everything. I mean, it'd be better if the fucking demon took me. All right, let's go. Let's go.
You can probably hear Shihan's voice wafting across the area as he's singing as he's hunting. Just so you know.
Of course.
So yeah, Blogbear will go back to KO with this.
What
Fish.
happened to my cloak?
I will tell you the truth.
Oh my! So I would hope you tell me the truth. She
You're not
kinda
gonna
looks
believe it,
a little bit
but
offended
it
at
is
that.
the truth. So, just it's the truth. A washer demon tried to wash it and ruined it.
She one of her beautiful eyebrows disappears into her hairline. A washer demon.
Yes, you see, the fool that I am, I unwittingly fell into a pact with a washer demon, and I have to give her bodies to wash, or bad things will happen. And she occasionally shows herself and reminds me that I have these bodies to give her. And I wasn't washing the cloak right, so she had to help me. Look at it, the beautiful job she did.
And she being maybe she has a moment of kind of like ditziness there. Just a moment. She goes, "Well, how were you washing it?"
I just give her the mother the fuck, like, really? I was washing it as you wash a cloak. There's not a lot of ways to wash a cloak, but the demon said I was doing it wrong. So this is the right way, apparently. Look how clean it is. I apologize. Well, I will try to find you a new cloak.
She looks a little disappointed at this, but she's like she keeps her disapproval to herself.
I go and I give her my cloak. It's not as nice as hers. It's nasty. It's dirty. I'm scared to go wash it because God forbid she's fucking there again and she's like, "Oh, you're washing that one wrong too, bitch. Let me fucking show you." Oh my God. So I make the gesture. I give her my cloak, and so she can have it if she wants it. But I'm fucking demon bitch, ruining everything.
So Shihan comes back to this scene. We'll say just as as Kea asks, "Well, how were you washing it?" and Shihan, there, take the floor.
So when Shihan comes walking up, he's still humming a bit of the tune he's been singing with the merchant fellow in tow, carrying a little bundle of sticks that eventually will become arrows. He hears this exchange. It's just as the merchant sort of looks at him quizzically, he just holds up a hand and just motions him to quiet to let them finish their discussion. When he does, he turns back. He turns over to the merchant and sort of whispers, yeah, he encountered one of the washer demons along the riverbank, and well, apparently she's taken a shine to him. Don't worry, she won't come after you. I'm pretty sure.
The three Nemercians kind of they would do their version of like crossing themselves like Catholics, like oh no, like they take up their little effigies to Uvastru and they kiss it, they hold it close, like
Yeah. Build the fire up will keep her away. He walks over and to the two of them and stops a respectable distance away and says, "You know, it is true. He does. He did encounter a washer demon. In fact, I think had he not encountered said washer demon, he may not have been as quick to get to you. Unfortunately,
That is
so
true.
in a way, she did help you."
she looks a little accusatorially at Blogveer and she says, "What did? How does she affect us?" Like she's
She,
trying to piece it all together, and with this,
she told me where to find you, and in return, I have to give her her bodies. She put me on
whose
a.
bodies?
Oh, it was the Mercy. Not it was Atlanteans. But now, I turned to Shihan. Now she wants me to kill goblins. Goblins in the swamp where we came from. She says that
Ah,
they ready themselves to attack your people.
then yes, we need to go to the swamps and we need to take some goblin heads, spill some goblin blood, and oh wait, that's where those things live. He gets a concerned look on his face, but I can face them.
Kaya just kind of looks down. You mean those big fairy-eating beasts in the water?
Yes.
Oh, do they eat ogres as well?
I don't think so. I don't think you would fit.
Oh, your memory would serve. They're not bigger than ogres.
Yeah, they would. You would definitely not fit. They'd choke on you. But myself, the Demercian fellows here, maybe. But don't worry, guys. I know a way to fix this. He goes and starts taking those arrows he was fashioning. He starts fashioning a series of spikes to attach to his armor. He tells him, "We go into the swamp, so we want to have these spikes on us just in case these things come along, because when they bite down, it hurts their mouth and they let you go. We'll need them."
I guess
So, oh, sorry,
Blogger,
go for it, Grant. Sorry.
Blogger, he's just gonna take his cloak and get like a couple of sticks, a bundle of sticks, and start like, smacking all the road dust off of it and try to clean it up without actually going down to the river again, and then giving it to her to kind of clean it up. He's basically like a fucking whipped puppy. He's fucking sad, like, I'm sorry, please don't hate me. Here's my dirty, nasty cloak.
She'll accept the cloak as a temporary offering for now, but she will indeed charge you with finding her something to replace her cloak.
That damn demon bitch.
She later that evening, as everyone is starting to bed down, she has a kind of a private moment with Blogver, and she says, "Since last we seen each other, a young Blogveer would never." She's having a hard time getting it out, but after a while, the Blogveer I once knew would not keep demons as company. What has happened since we parted ways?
A lot. The quest for this cult, the quest to stop them, has taken its toll on all of us. I lost my dear friend Gilfek. Many more people lost their lives to the Atlanteans. The cult has been taking their pound of flesh in this constant warfare and death takes its toll on a spirit, and I didn't know she was a demon. I thought she was a babushka by the water who needed my help, and my kindness had put me into a pack with demons. So the only way I can get out of this is to do what she asks. I'm compelled to it. It's a geas. I have no control over it. If I do not do what she wishes, she will take those dear to me as payment, and I cannot have that. So, although I was forced into this, she did lead me to you. So I have heard a thing for that, but I cannot be rid of her fast enough. Trust me, I do not enjoy the company of demons or anything otherworldly. I detest it, but these are dark times and require sacrifices on all ends. I would understand if you do not wish to be courted anymore. I have changed. Uh, but it'd be impossible not to change after what I've been through. But I still love you, and I will do anything I can to protect you and keep you safe. And that will never change.
If the road that we're going to be on is quite dangerous, then it might be that I should not travel with you if you are to do away with this evil cult and restore the balance to the harvest time.
I have thought of this, and I do agree. I do not want you in danger, but I do not wish to be away from you, but it is the best choice to keep you safe. And I can't guarantee I will be back. I could I could meet my end, and I I wanted to complete the courting rituals before that, but if it means you are in danger, then I can't allow you. I can't. Uh, I can't, in good conscience, have you with us. But you are your own woman. You can do as you please. But I don't want you in danger, and we are going straight towards danger.
We are to cross the river and go into the south where the fair folk reside. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Well, what if I was to stay with the fair folk until this time that you are done with this cult and this demon, and we can resume our courtship when you return? If you do
Apparently,
this, then you must promise me that you will return.
I can promise that I will do all in my power to return. But Shihan is not on good terms with the fair folk, and I do not even know if they will allow you to stay with them.
I have a handful of friends who are among the fairies.
Then I
I'm certain
promise.
then that they would allow me to stay with them.
Then I promise I will return to you. I said I would travel to meet you if it took all eternity, and nothing will stop me from coming back to you.
As that conversation ends, we will have closing soliloquies from Shihan. Take us away.
So Shion is fashioning these little spikes and such, and instructing the Nemersians on their fashion and how to attach them to their armor. He's thinking about the what comes of the what is before him. That this task has it been? He thinks to himself, has it been long enough that I've left, that when I go back, they'll be accepted back? Or am I going to go back and have to face the families of those young noblemen who were slain and be faced with duels and with attempts on my life and on my friends' lives at that? Am I leading Blogbeer and his recently reacquired love into danger? But if any of my own people, and he's thinking, he actually has crossed his mind to possibly suggest to Blogbeer that they stay with the Pike King when they get back to his court, just to spare them that. But at the same time, he knows that Blogbeer will not leave his side, and to even ask him to do so would be an insult. But so he has all these conflicting thoughts running through his mind about what he should do next, how he should do, where he should go, exactly how he should go about doing these things. And it's uh, he's trying to keep a good face for his friend, but at the same time, the concern is hard to hide. So he is currently a man who is conflicted within.
Okay. As the rest of your companions finish their work, the mortals lay out their beds and kind of find a dry patch, a dry soft patch in the river grass. The archer, the young man, has at this time found a branch that he's rendering down into a bow. It's a crude bow, but it will serve once he actually gets it down. He is sitting on the ground, leaning up against the tree, kind of staring off into the darkness. And he will actually fall asleep with his carving knife in his hand, and with the branch that is to be turned into a bow resting in his lap when he wakes the next morning. The other two are breaking down the camp for that from that evening's dinner. They're nestling into their autumn blankets. Blogvir and Kea, as you are not a mated pair, you will sleep separately, and Kea will make it a point to sleep on a soft patch of grass on the other side of the encampment from you, just opposite. So technically, a part of your courtship is you guys got to be separate. You're companions, but there's no contact there. So Blogvir will be relegated to the other end of the encampment. And closing soliloquies as Blogvir beds down for the evening. Take it away, my friend.
As he finds a comfortable patch of dirt to call his own, he will stare off and just stare at Kea and all her beauty from across the encampment. And he respects their rituals, he respects their ways, but he part of him, he wants to be there with her, he wants to embrace her, he wants to hold her, but he knows that it will be that much sweeter when he returns triumphant from thwarting this cult and reuniting his friend with his family, and their triumphant return will be that much sweeter, that he had earned it. He still hasn't earned it. He hasn't earned her courtship, and that it was only more than fair of her to even request to start the courtship over anew. To him, that was a very generous offer, and he would do it 1,000 times if need to be, because she is worth it. And as he lays there, just gazing over at her, he turns inward to his thoughts about Shihan and how he has found comfort, and now Shihan is one of his best friends, has strife ahead of him, and he needs to find his comfort. He needs to find his peace, and Blogveer will do all he can to see that Shihan has his peace. And Blogveer is sad that he will have to leave Kea, but it is for the best that she stays with the fair folk, that she will be safe there. And he can divert all of his attention to helping Shihan with what lies ahead without fear of Kea being injured or harmed. His mind will be battle ready and focused on destroying his enemies and helping his friend. And if they should fall, at least Blogveer can die knowing that after all this time, Kea still wanted to be his mate, that she still loved him, and that that itself is worth everything that's happened to him. And he will fall asleep with thoughts of Kea on his mind, and children and a family, but also thoughts of his enemies dead at his feet, him and his friend, the Red Blade, covered in the blood of the foes, the great goddess in ecstasy, as they stand triumphant above this cult, and they stand triumphant on top of the bodies of these Atlantean conquerors who claim to take the wood that Shihan has called home. And he drifts off into a very peaceful sleep, and he relishes it because he knows that in the days to come, peace is going to be a very fleeting thing indeed. But Blogveer will be there at Shihan's side, club in hand, ready to do anything and everything necessary to see his friend to the end of his path.
Beautifully said, guys. Thank you for tuning in, everybody, to session 17 of the Reaper King. We will be back next week at the same time. Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.